Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2, Episode 4. It's called Abominations. Full spoilers for the episode as always. The funny thing about this one is that I happened to see the TV guide description kind of thing they put out. It's a couple of sentences that tells you what the episode's about. And I seen Jackson infiltrates plantation during the Civil War, and I immediately thought, that sounds really heavy for this show.
And and you told me, and I was like, okay, I'm concerned that this can't pull this off.
Yeah, that it might not give it the
The depth that
respect.
it
Yeah,
deserves. Yeah.
I was kind of worried about how they make go.
But
But
I don't know. I feel like they did a pretty damn good job of it.
they did. They went further than I expected as well.
Yeah.
Because the other funny thing about this episode is that we deal with the race stuff and the slavery in Jackson's storyline, but then there's also zombies.
Yeah.
So we flip between really different stories in this one, but it oddly kind of all works, and it's because it probably made me feel the most out of any Legends episode because it did have this serious weight to one of the storylines that
Yeah.
typically this doesn't have. Typically, none of the DC shows have this really.
Yeah.
The episode starts with some other time traveler. I think they assume it's a time pirate who attacked another time master ship, but he crash lands in the Civil War. He has a zombie plague, which I think they describe as a bio-organic weapon.
Yeah. Basically a virus.
Yeah, but it's zombies. It's what it is. Um, and because when they go down to deal with the ship, which they deal with quite quickly, and even joke that it might be the quickest and easiest mission they've ever had, uh, these zombies end up taking out a spy, a black spy who was trying to sneak information for the Union, and because of a result of this, uh, history altered dramatically, and the Civil War was lost, and obviously everything that happens from that. So they have to go back in, and they have to deal with the fact that there's A, going to be a horde of zombies, B, that the spy's work has to be finished, which is what leads Jefferson to going into the plantation and trying to get the information and everything else. Also, Mick gets bit, and so we have three plot lines. The episode basically splinters into three at this point. We have Jackson at the plantation. We have
Yep.
Sarah and Haywood with the Union trying to deal with the zombies that are attacking the army, and we have Jackson. I said that already. Sorry. We have Mick as a zombie in a kind of horror movie esque setting in the ship where he's chasing down Ray and Stein.
Yeah.
So that's those three things, and they're all very different. I'll say the weakest one, not because it's bad, just because it's kind of least involved, is Sarah and Haywood with the Union.
I'd agree, but it still had some cool stuff.
It did. It was fine. It's kind of the zombies are coming towards them. There was some little things where Haywood's like, let me talk, and she's like, why? Because you're the man. You know.
It kind of had the stuff you expect from Legends most, I suppose. Sarah making
Yeah.
some little quips, her doing the throwing knives and being like, ah, it
Yeah.
helps me think.
Yeah. There was nothing wrong with it. It was just kind of the least. The other two, like the Stein and Mick story, was so fun because
Yeah.
Stein was so scared of zombies. He has this irrational fear, like him opening the door and coming out with the butcher knife, to
No,
protect himself.
that was great. My favorite moment though was when Mick turned and he just started screaming, "Zombie, zombie!" just running off.
Because he wouldn't say it before that. He wouldn't
Yeah,
say the word. But then now he
yeah,
was in danger. He was screaming at the top of his lungs. Oh god.
fantastic.
Yeah. So all that was really fun, and it of course led to the end where Mick gives him Captain Cold's gun because Ray, not Stein, Mick, not Ray. You know what I mean? Mick gives Ray
Yeah,
Captain Cold's gun because he goes to him and he feels kind of like
like an outsider. Yeah,
like an outsider. But Joe, I liked about this, as much as season one kind of went to crap throughout the season, there was a couple of moments where Mick kind of bonded with Ray.
yeah, I agree with that. Like I said, when this happened, it felt earned. Like I buy this
Yeah,
bromance.
it kind of felt natural in a
Yeah,
weird way because
even down to like last week, him calling like giving him nicknames, and he just calls him like haircut and stuff.
yeah, like if you go back to I think it was like the episode 3 and 4 two-parter last year when they were in Nazi Germany, and he kind of earned Mick's respect after
Yeah,
Mick didn't want to know him. Like it kind of, in a weird way, this feels like one of the most earned things they've done. So it actually worked kind of well. Plus Mick, is funny, usually.
Absolutely.
So that was a real fun. But mostly what I liked about that though is how they proper treated like a horror movie when Stein comes out and it's like all the dark hallways and Dutch camera angles and
It's even how they're laughing about how like they make like point out how the lights are gone and stuff.
yeah.
And just because we're very aware that hang on, all of a sudden they were just playing it like a horror movie.
Yeah, but like I say, it was fun. It was oddly very like therapeutic after the heavier scenes with Jackson, which we're about to get to.
Yeah.
It would cut to this and it'd be, oh, this is kind of light and just fun.
Yeah, but it was good.
Yeah,
which is the important part.
So the Jackson stuff, yeah, like obviously there's the spy who gets killed at the start, and obviously that was kind of dealing with it. And I actually really liked when Stein's suggesting that he not go off the ship. He's like, maybe you should stay back as well because of the time period. And I kind of like Jackson's responses. Look, Gray, this might surprise you, but I've been black my whole life, and there's almost no time period in history that we can go to where this isn't going to be at least slightly a problem.
Yeah, and it makes sense, but at the same time, I completely get Stein saying that.
Yeah, so do I.
Perfect sense for him to feel protective and be like, look, seriously,
yeah,
it's not good out there right now.
Yeah, I completely get. I if I was there with a black friend or a black,
I'd probably throw it out there. Like, it's not like you need to stay in it. It's like it's kind of like you want to sit this out. If you don't feel like you want to deal with this, yeah, no problem.
Even if it's someone I don't know that well, like a mild acquaintance, I'd probably like, you know what, if you want to stay in the ship this time,
yeah, we understand.
It's probably not a bad idea, but it makes even more sense with Stein though, because they have that bond, they have that psychic sort of bond, which probably has developed a sort of father-son relationship more than quicker than what you normally would have with characters.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I kind of forgot about the psychic link. I feel like they haven't mentioned it properly in a while.
Do you know what I liked about it though? Is that because they didn't really mention it in the episode until the scene where Jackson does get captured and he's chained up and he's seeing the other slaves, and I was kind of thinking just before it happened, I'm like, I remembered the link and I'm like, shouldn't Stein feel something? So I actually really liked it, even though he was a part of this fun plot, that we cut to him and he was like, I've never felt him feel like this before.
Yeah,
it gave it this extra layer that was kind of. Because the rest of it, other than the zombies outside, feels, treated very as if it's real. It's very no science fiction-y or whatever elements are coming in from the outside. Like that, the stuff with the slaves and the plantation on its own within, until the zombies break in at the end, because eventually that had to happen, but it felt like it was treated like a real thing. So him doing that was a nice way of bringing in the idea that we have this extra stuff because it is a sci-fi show without it directly interfering with the actual plot. Because one of the things I really, really like about this is at no point do other white characters come in to save the day with Jackson. It's all him and Vixen. It's the two black characters who deal with it all on their own. They don't get any help and they see it through. Now, I don't necessarily think it would have been a problem if, by the end of the episode,
other people of the team had showed up.
Yeah, because it's their team. There wouldn't be an issue. But I think it was a nice touch to not have that happen.
Yeah, to have them manage to do it on their own.
Yeah, I thought that was a really nice touch. Really, really simple thing, but it worked well.
It's really good because I was really worried about this going in, given the subject matter. Yeah. But it was probably some of the most powerful stuff the show's done.
The moment that I realised, oh crap, they're actually doing this with more seriousness than I was expecting.
Was it when he got noticed?
No, it was before that. It was the whipping scene outside the house. Because I was not expecting to see that. Because that was basically a scene from 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah.
As soon as, them even arguing and, Vixen wanting to step in and him not, I was like, this is really, this is a lot more affecting than I was expecting this to be. They're actually hitting a lot of serious notes here.
Yeah.
And yeah, so again, him being noticed, and that was incredibly awkward because he accidentally bumps into this woman, and he, in a 21st century way, as you'd expect, just apologises. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he even adds on "ma'am" at the end, and he's kind of dancing, sprucing up his language.
He's making an effort to be aware of when he is.
Yeah, he's making an effort to he keeps saying "sir" to the guy who comes up and says, and he keeps even though the guy's been a complete dick, but he knows that he's trying to not stand out. He's trying to blend in as someone from the time period.
He just doesn't quite get
but he
the
doesn't,
reality.
Yeah, but he doesn't quite understand it because he doesn't realise that he shouldn't even talk back to him or, and things like that. Like, this is what the guy doesn't expect of him. Yeah. And, and he walks away and the summit kind of, he just sinks as you realise that he's going down a hole here, with this guy. But no. But it also had a very oddly uplifting message as well. Like, the whole idea that what he saw in those people, the slaves, was not what he expected. That he seen them all, like, no matter what happened to them, they were still hopeful.
Yeah, like, that moment where they all start singing the song.
Yeah.
Like, that was a really strong moment for the show. Like,
yeah.
I'm really blown away by this episode. I was not expecting it at all.
Yeah. And then, when Vixen comes in and sort of there to save the day and he gets out, and the others aren't wanting to leave because they're afraid of getting caught, because they think it's even worse. If they try to run and get caught, they'll be, castrated, I believe, was the thing he brought up. So, but again, one of the things I like that Jack said is he said, look, it's not perfect. Like, I can't tell you how I know this, right? But it gets better. It's not perfect. It's far from it, but it's better than this. I really like that line because it was, things are better than slavery. They just are. There's no way to dispute that it isn't. But there are still issues, and we're dealing with those as a society. We're seeing them in the news every day. We're progressing. I like that line because it was very aware, and it's not the sort of thing I expect this show to tackle.
No, exactly. I mean, because we had a few times in season 1 where they were trying to, touch on this stuff. I think when it was back in the 50s or 60s or whatever it was.
Because the 50s one, they dealt with the racism, but they also dealt with the gay stuff.
Yeah.
With Sarah, and it felt really forced and heavy-handed and whatever. Whereas here, it felt natural, and I actually felt like they handled it really well.
I felt I'd done a really good job of this. Between this and when we mentioned how it was brought up with the Nazis and stuff, like, it wasn't heavy-handed. It was just, this is exactly how much it should be. Yeah, it was the same here. Yes, it was much heavier than that, but this is exactly how much it needed to be for this moment in history.
Yeah, this needed to be heavy. I mean, he's in the South during the Civil War. Like, this had to be heavy. There was no way it couldn't be.
Exactly.
And had they treated it any lighter, it would have felt phony. It would have felt almost disrespectful.
It would have. Yeah. Which is why, like, I really thought that's what I still expected of it going in, just because of that's how Legends has been.
Yeah, because Legends has never been serious or overly deep.
Yeah.
So, no, props to them. They pulled out a really strong episode. I mean, I'd probably say I still preferred, like, the JSA episode because it was more fun and entertaining, but I can't deny that this, in terms of, like, actual talent, this might have been the best episode they've done.
Oh, absolutely. If anyone told me this was their favourite episode, I wouldn't argue, really.
Yeah, no, I'd get it. I'd completely get it. Yeah. But if this is a sign that occasionally we might get, like, more deep moments or more serious things like this, then by all means.
Yeah, now that I know that they can pull it off, I'm down for them doing it every so often.
Yeah. Obviously, next week I'd rather... Let's go back to the dinosaurs next week. That'll be a...
I'd love that as well. Let's ride some T-Rexes.
Yeah, I want a romp with dinosaurs next week to cheer me up. But, like I say, handled really well, uplifting tone, and even ended with the singing again as the ship flies away, which I thought was a nice little touch too. So,
one thing I did find really weird, just about the zombies in general. Why did it survive after it cut off its head? I thought that was the thing with zombies. You cut off the head, that's it. End of the zombie.
But this isn't natural zombies. This is a BOW.
I know, but it still felt weird.
I don't know, they're calling it zombies because that's the closest thing and they know what to call it.
Yeah, I don't know. It just felt like you're going to do zombies. At least keep that part of zombies.
It didn't bother me. It's fine.
How do you stop them then? If you can cut off the head and it carries on.
Well, because the body won't move after that.
Well, sure, but
what's the head going to do on its own?
Bite you still.
If you go near it, you just stay away from it. Presumably, though, if you still shoot them in the head, it'll still work because it'll still destroy the brain. Because the brain's not technically destroyed; it's just severed from the body.
Yeah, I guess.
That was my reading on it. Not that I really cared.
It bothered me. I mean, I know I really shouldn't be complaining about this in this episode, but
honestly, my only real complaint is a couple of effects moments were a bit dodgy. See when the zombies were getting to the plantation, and Jax and the other guy ran up the stairs, and he threw down the lamp to set them on fire. That looked really fake.
It did. Also, that went up really quickly.
It also, really quickly. But
like it was one small like gas lamp, and you dropped that on 20 odd zombies, and they just instantly went up in flames.
Yeah, it's a problem. I think I would live with that if it looked good, but it didn't. It looked really bad.
Yeah.
So
It did.
But no, that was a surprisingly heavy episode of Legends that somehow managed to cut to a goofy zombie story, which was fun, and then cut back to the serious, respectful story, and do them both with some tact. So
yeah, it's really shockingly good.
So fair play to this week on Legends. But yeah, so that's episode 4. So we'll be back next time. Let us know what you thought of this episode of Legends of Tomorrow in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.